Example 10. So examine this example. See if you can figure out the interesting situation. Okay, I think we examined long enough. What's the interesting situation here? It doesn't go through what? It doesn't go through the x, right? The parabola just goes up and touches the x, then comes back, right? Or the parabola just comes down and touches the x, then goes back up, right? So that poses us a little interesting situation because we're used to m and n being two values, right? Right. Now, what do m and n have to be? X what? They have to be x values. They have to be x intercepts. So if I look at, we'll start with the solid line. If I look at the solid line, where is the x-intercept here? What point does the parabola just come up to and touch and then turn back around? Right there, right? -4, isn't it? Is that m or n? Both? Sure. So we're saying, let me get this right. You're saying that m and n are the same value. That's what we're insinuating? Well, we're using this equation, right? Right, guys? We're using that equation, aren't we? Now, students have tried to do this multiple different ways. They said, okay, we'll have m be -4, and since there isn't another intercept, we'll have n be what? 0. Did anybody try that? Yeah. Well, if n is 0, that's saying this parabola crosses where? Right there at the origin, right? So then the parabola would actually look like this. Is that what we have? No. It hits just -4 and only -4, right? So when Jovanique and Bruno said that both m and n are -4, they were right. When the parabola comes in and just bumps the x-axis, doesn't cross it, just kind of touches it and turns around, then this value right here is both your m value and your n value. Because m and n have to be x-intercepts, right? And if I say m is -4, I won't count n. If you don't include n, you're just saying n is 0. If you're saying n is 0, that means your parabola crosses the origin too. And that's not what we have here, is it? Does that make sense, guys? So if the parabola just bumps into the x-axis, then that means that wherever it bumps, that is your m and your n. Right? So if you want to make a little note on your paper, okay? If the parabola just touches the x-axis, then that value is both m and n. Okay? Should have put a sentence on there. Fill in the blanks. If the parabola touches just the x-axis. Right? Or above fill in the blank sentences, right? So I'll give the projector a little break. So this is the equation. We said m and n are both what? So m equals -4, n equals -4, right? Right? So I can plug in y equals a times x minus -4 times x minus -4. Seems kind of repetitive. We can then simplify this to be a times x plus 4, x plus 4. Right? Does that make sense? We got that, guys? Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Projector, short break. Now, if I want to finish figuring out that equation, what else do I need? We need to find a, right? To find A, what do I need, guys? Points. How many points? 1. Now, usually we use the maximum, don't we, or the minimum, right? Can I use that in this case? Because that's my intercept. If I plug in -4 for x, we're going to end up with a whole bunch of zeros, and A will go away. So we can't use the intercept. So I got to find a point that's not the intercept. Does anybody see any good points that are not the intercepts? Okay. So -2, -2. It's down, right, Long? Okay. So -2, -2. That's a good point. Okay, I can go across over here and see, look at this one. This one is -6, -2. That's another good point. Right? I'm sure there's some more. I know we can't see it on here, but the y-intercept is another good point, 0, 8. Right? The y-intercept is 0, 8. That's another good point we can use. All right? But which one do you want to use? Long said -2, -2. Is everybody okay with that, or do you want to do something else? Yeah. -2, -2? Yep. I don't like using repeated numbers because then you guys lose track of which one's the y, which one's the x. Okay? So can I use -6, -2? You guys okay with that? So then we can keep track of where the x and the y goes? Okay, is that okay, guys? Yeah? Long, if you use -2, -2, we'll see if we've got the same answer. How's that sound? All right. So which one of these is the x? -6. So I take -6 and we plug it in for what? The x. Good. So we take -6 and we plug it in for the x. So we get this. Y equals, oh, I'm running out of space right there. Y equals A times -6 plus 4 times -6 plus 4, right? What else do I have to plug in for? The y. What's the y? -2. So -2 equals that. So this is why I don't like using repeated points for teaching, because you guys could just say -2 for both answers and be right both times. All right? I want to make sure, because I know a lot of us have struggled to put the x and y in the right spot, we see where the x and where the y goes. Okay? The x goes with the x's, the y goes with the y's. If you can't remember that, it's because of this. All our points are x comma y. Right? So now we do algebra. -6 plus 4, what's that? -2, good. -6 plus 4, what's that? I think I asked the same question twice. -2 times -2, what does that equal? Positive? So now what? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. 4's cancel. This becomes -0.5 equals A, which is also -1/2 equals A. You can use either one. Either, that's a fun word. Which way do you say it? I don't know. Either way works. So there's either way. All right, so now what do I do? Am I done? No. This goes in for what? A. For A right here, and then we're done. So y equals -1/2 x plus 4 times x plus 4. Now, if we have repeated factors, what's something we can do? Nope. Square it. Good. I can rewrite this like this. X plus 4 squared. And they're the exact same thing. Does that make sense? Okay. If you don't believe me about the whole m and n thing, plug this in your calculator. Do it right now. Go to y equals. Plug it in. -1/2, -0.5. You can pick. X plus 4 in parentheses, squared at the end, and tell me how many times that touches the x's. It's good to see that 3 people don't just believe me. That's good. 4, nice question. Always question. Good thing. How many times is the axis? How many times? 3? Just if you can do it. It's a parabola. Only hit once. It's a parabola. It can only hit a maximum twice. It won't hit 3 times. Okay. So, how many times did it hit? Yeah, I shut the camera. It hits twice? Hits once. It just goes up there and bumps it, right? You don't see any light in there, do you? Okay. So, it only hits once. All right? Any questions? All right. I would like you guys to try